Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us for another episode of the Liverpool Connection Podcast. This is PubChat, where we do some analysis of the previous games and preview the upcoming game against Aston Villa. So, before we get into the discussion, I just wanted to make a quick disclaimer that even though we do offer some sophomoric and sometimes crude analysis, these videos are not made for kids. They're for adults and mature audiences. So um, enter at your own risk, as they say online. But anyway, um, just a quick recap on the 2-1 victory over Wolves. Obviously, very nervy. You know, a lot of the narrative coming out of that game is not just that we got the 3 points at home, but the fact that we didn't offer any shots on target in that second half. We looked kind of disjointed, and it was a weird game. You know, obviously a game of two halves, as the cliche goes. But that game could have been done and dusted in the first half. Um, 3-0 if Jota probably just stays on his feet and taps that ball in. And there are a couple other calls that didn't go our way. And I think that the second half kind of showed that we were on the back foot. Wolves stepped up their game, but I also thought we were kind of apprehensive in going into tackles just because of the way that the referee was calling that first half. Obviously, Kanate with the soft yellow. I mean, it's so stupid to get a yellow where he did, but it was soft anyways. And then, you know, escaping from not getting a second yellow card on that aerial challenge. And I don't think if anybody would be complaining if like the first yellow that he got wasn't a yellow, and then the second one would have been a yellow. So Klopp did the sense, or Slot did the sensible thing, taking him off at halftime and bringing Kwanzaa in. But the first half again, we start off well. You're getting Diaz back on the left side. That's his preferred position, and we all know that. He started there at the beginning of the season, and I think some of the problem that we have right now, even though we are getting the results and still in first place, is that we do have a bunch of people that their preferred position is that left hand side. Is Gapco, Diaz. I believe Nunez's best position is on the left hand side. Even Jota, to me, offers a little bit more coming off that left than he does centrally. And I know Jota's coming back from an injury, but he was the lowest rated starting player for Liverpool, according to FOTMob. So he wasn't really putting the impact on the game that he normally does. But definitely had enough to get through. Wolves, who always surprised me being so low in the table. You know, they lose a ton of players, but they still have a lot of quality, on their squad, and always surprised when they're in the relegation battle. But um, we escape with the 3 points, which at this point is what we're doing. And like Carragher said, these games are going to be nervy. Buckle up. We're going to have very few games that are just going to be, the 3-0, 4-0 type of games moving forward. And we're in this stretch of games right now where it's going to be hard. They come pretty quick. Every couple of days there's going to be a game, so we have to hope that Slot rotates the team where he needs. And obviously, a big blow is that we're going to be missing Joe Gomez probably for the rest of the season. He does offer valuable minutes to the back line when Slot does want to rotate. So we hope he gets well, and you know, let's hope that we haven't seen the last of him in a red shirt. So because he's been such a vital part of our team whenever he's healthy. Um, so hope he recovers quickly. And just a couple of last things about that Wolves game. Um, the besides just no shots on target that second half. I mean, we edged them on the xG 1.66 to 1.5, but in open play they almost doubled us. They're 1.24 to our 0.68, so that's never good. Um, we only won 44% of the ground duels. That's not good. Aerial duels, same, 44%. So I don't know if we're a little bit tired after the effort that we had to put in against Everton, just a few days prior. So maybe that was it, and hopefully Slide has recognized that there's some tired legs out there, and he'll start rotating. It's funny that Kwanzaa comes in at halftime, did a good job, so we'll definitely need him moving forward to recapture some of that quality that he showed last season. So hopefully he's starting to get his legs back. Endo obviously comes in at the end, plays only 20 minutes, gets man of the match. And then I was like, yeah, he did make a contribution, and I was all for it because I actually thought Kwanzaa was man of the match myself, but Endo ends up getting it after only 20 minutes. Just kind of shows you where the team was at that time that he comes in. And then I went back and looked at the stats, and he's like, he only won 3 out of his 5 duels. He didn't make any tackles. And so maybe it was just the presence, right, of just showing the energy of him going around the pitch, um, trying to win the ball back and really covering the back four. So kudos to him. He's such a professional player, and his attitude is a type that um, maybe he doesn't get the minutes that a lot of people thinks he should, but he has a professionalism when his effort coming in, it's just second to none. So we definitely will need him and his passion going into the end of the season. So just wrapping that up. 3 points at home. The crowd seemed kind of quiet. We're watching it at the pub and couldn't really hear them sing, and I almost forgot we were playing at home. There were a couple times during that game I thought we were on the road, just waiting for the traveling cop to start singing, and I was like, oh no, we're at Anfield. So anyway, hopefully, you know, as these games come by, we have a lot of our last games are at Anfield, so that will help. So we'll need the crowd as we get into the real business end of the season. So anyway, 3 points. We move into the Villa game, which is tomorrow, which is kind of weird, right? Because it's a Champions League date. But since Villa and Liverpool have qualified for bye for this knockout round, so they pushed that game till tomorrow. And so, Villa coming in at ninth place on 38 points. Obviously, we're at first place with 60 points, 7 point lead over Arsenal with the same amount of games played. Villa coming in off a back of a 1-1 draw with Ipswich at home. So um, on paper, this should be a pretty straightforward 3 points for Liverpool. But Villa hasn't lost at home since October, so they may not be getting the wins, but they haven't lost. So Unai Emery always um, sets up his teams pretty well. We have a good record against them. Obviously we beat them earlier in the season pretty comprehensively, and so um, I expect more of the same coming into tomorrow. With an eye on City on the weekend. I think if you're gonna look at them, obviously City's not the powerhouse that they were last couple of years. They're still adjusting to a bunch of new players coming in, but they show signs of brilliance. They beat Forest this last weekend pretty comprehensively. So and they may have their eye on also Real Madrid next week, having to turn that tie around. So going into Villa, playing them, like I said, I'll be very interested in seeing the rotation for Slot. What he does. They they don't play a typical bunker defense against us, but they do have some players that could cause some issues for us. Tillemans I think has found his stride in their midfield. Last year he was pretty poor, but I think he's done a lot better um, this season. Obviously Ollie Watkins is their main guy. He leads them with 11 goals, but they let Duran go to Saudi Arabia, so that was their second highest scorer on their team. So I don't know where they're going to get their goals from outside of Watkins, um, but we should have enough to get those 3 points, and hopefully the lessons learned from the Wolves game is that to take care of that business when you can in the first half, and then get control again. We lost that control against Wolves in the second half, and I think Slot will make sure that that doesn't happen again. Obviously, we missed Curtis Jones that last game through suspension, and he's such a vital piece of the puzzle to be able to bring off the field and gain control back of the midfield. So, be looking forward to when Jones gets to play again, and these games are coming, like I said, fast and thick, and we need every point. Every point matters, whether we get a draw or 3 points. In these next two games. 4 points will probably be a good result out of those. Obviously we're looking for 6 points, but if we can get 4 points out of the next two games, um, I think that's gonna you know set us up well into the just taking one more game off at a time. As these games start to the available games start to dwindle, and that lessens the opportunity that Arsenal can make up those points. So anyway, every game is important. It's good to see you guys. Please like, subscribe, put on your notifications, and I will see you after the Villa match. Cheers.